Hello everyone! Today's video will be all about my weekend study routine on a regular exam period. This will cover what I usually do on a Saturday, as I usually block out Sundays in my planner. But when my workload gets too intensive during finals, I will probably repeat this on a Sunday as well. Also wanted to tell you that I partnered with Notro for this video, which is a completely free search engine that helps students find research for papers and essays. We will talk more about this in the end, so stay tuned. In this particular day, I had three main tasks ahead of me. I had to take notes on a class lecture, organize my materials for an exam I would have that week, and also review my notes for a final exam. For the first task, I started to review for my exam, going through my last compiled batch of notes on my laptop. This would be a take-home public law exam, so being able to have a decent amount of notes written down on Microsoft Word would help me structure my answers in a more thorough manner. After that task was complete, I took a look at my bullet journal in order to see how many materials I would have to organize and index for my environmental law exam. We were given a syllabus in class as well as a couple hundred pages of reading materials, so I knew I would have to prepare those thoroughly for the exam. Since I knew the major focus for the exam would be on relevant treaties and conventions, I went through the materials and signaled all information that covered interpretation and application of environmental treaties, so I could refer back to it easily. My master's degree evaluation method is very different from my undergrad, so for me it's a priority to have everything neatly organized in a Word document with all references, citations, and legal provisions. As take-home exams are always essay style and have a very strict word and time limit. The more I can condense information and incorporate different sources of information beforehand, the better I'll be able to structure my answers and write the exam as quickly as possible. Although this took a long time, it was definitely worth having a concise table of contents of all the topics I would need to consult during the exam period, and also take a few notes on some important things I was reading while I was skimming through the texts. In the middle of the afternoon, it was time to brew some green tea and keep pushing through all of the work I had to get done. After all of that indexing, my attention span was definitely low, so getting a nice cup of tea or coffee is usually my trick to get right on track. I'm also more liberal with myself after my major task of the day is complete, so because I had already organized my materials for environmental law, I allowed myself to get on my phone for a while. After that, I went through my computer and looked through my folders to find any other documents that had information on environmental law, so I could add a couple of notes to reference back to those files. Because I tend to change between writing down my notes and typing them, it is always important for me to make sure I'm not forgetting the smallest bits of information while I'm preparing for an exam. If you want to know how I organize folders, files, and color code my progress on my Mac, you can check out my last week's video on computer organization, which will be linked down below as well in the upper right corner of your screen. Finally, it was time for the most passive task of the day, which was listening to a lecture and taking notes on that. I tend to share work like this with some of my classmates. It definitely reduces your workload, allows for different perspectives on a subject, and makes finals week much more manageable. It also allows you to focus more on the task that was given to you, instead of having to rush through hours of materials or lectures just because you can't find the time to do everything yourself. I definitely recommend you to find a study buddy that has the same kind of work ethic as you do, someone that can make you accountable for your studying and share notes and ideas with you. Although I'm a very individual person, I always feel that I'm benefiting when I'm studying with someone who takes studying as seriously as I do, and someone who also allows for a relationship where there is mutual support and help, and during those times when one of you is less motivated, the other is always there to get you back on track. Finally, I want to thank Notro for helping this video come to life. Notro is a search engine that was created by students, scientists, and professors that help other students find scientific facts included in peer-reviewed third-party scientific papers. They have over 35 categories that help students find research that interests them. Each scientific find has citations, so students can cite correctly their academic journal and embed the citation in their essays and papers. The best thing about Notro is that it's completely free, so you don't need to pay or subscribe to their service to have access to their database. In fact, Notro is a mission-based organization that operates with a very small margin, so their main goal is to provide students with facts that are usually hidden or buried deep within academic papers, and they do that for free. If you want to know more about this website, I've provided a link in the description so you can get started with your research right now. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and I will see you next week. Bye!